Today is July 5th, 2018, on planet Earth. Hell on Earth. Get ready for the Emerging Sea broadcast system, the Forbidden History series, and the history of the church with the original gospel morning read. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. Do tell your friends, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to have a happening on Earth, planet Earth, in the great cosmos. You did tell your friends? Thank you for doing that. Please note that the following views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And good morning, Star. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. What they... you get over 60, you start wearing down with this stuff. Let me try it again. Take two. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Well, then come and journey with us and explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way, 7 days a week, 2 times a day, 9 a.m. in the morning and 8 p.m. in the evening, Eastern Time, on the realpublicradio.net. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. And good afternoon over there in Scandinavia, Anna and Lynn Mitzi. Good to have you this morning, and stand by for the broadcast, okay? I only have one rule here, and that is we have to have fun, right? Okay, so we can do that, and at least I hope we can. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares, you better believe it. It's the Forbidden History series with the history of the church, the original gospel morning read, what they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here. And good morning, friends, and anybody out there that's new listening in today. I am your host, Desert Owl, but some people think I say Desert Owl, like A-Owl, like Aleister Crowley or something, but no, it's actually Owl, O-W-L. And good morning, Jedi. Good to have you. It's actually Jedi, J-E-D-I, but she hit the wrong letter. So she'll have to fix that down the road there. So Jedi, yeah, because that's what Jody means. Jody is a code, and it's Jedi hiding right behind there. And so good to have you all stopping by. I'm so honored to be hanging out with such wonderful people. So much kindness and love. It melts my heart. I feel like this is the most sensational happening on earth, with such wonderful hearts and people. When there's so much beating up going on out there, and hatred and people pushing people around and stuff. It's just so nice to to have made so many new friends and old friends, of course, with Jedi, old friend from my former network, and so interesting times, right? And and my new quote is this: the one who doesn't want to know is the slave who doesn't want to be free. Okay, because we have to want to know. We have to want to be able to hear things we never heard before, even when sometimes it doesn't make sense to us, And so I've talked about this riddle that I've, that Yavohed, and our great Elohim, Yeshua, gave to me, my tree of knowledge, my Redeemer, my healer, Yeshua. He gave me a riddle, and it was like, I don't remember the year, but I would say approximately 15 to 17 years ago now. Okay, and then I didn't get the answer for 10 years. It's like he kept me hanging because he wanted me to ponder that riddle. And so it goes like this. Okay, when I was exposing child kidnapping out there in East Texas and the corruptions of CPS and the court and the phony court system that was involved in the heist and destroying people's lives. I then it was exposing them for various reasons without getting into that story. It's just that when that happened. So So, and I got statewide news coverage. I broke the story, on the occult ritual of kidnapping children, and got it on state-run television, radio, and newspaper, all on one Monday. It's like nobody wanted to touch it, but the document I got out there, supported with affidavit, was so great that literally, boom, it was a miracle that the story got out about headhunters, high-paid headhunters, that made big money selling out families to the child kidnapping racket. And so I'm losing my thoughts there. I'm watching the chat at the same time. It's throwing me off, so I'm going to try to focus here and not look at the chat for a moment. And so yeah, it's a tragedy what's going on. And I ultimately produced a radio program exposing CPS issues, and brought people on from Canada, and my co-host, and also from Australia, and all three nations we came on together. Oh, and it was about the headhunter. Yeah, because we were showing the same things happening in all of our nations, happening in where Diane is. Hi, Diane, in UK. It's everywhere. And it's all under the Vatican. The Vatican needs babies. They need your baby, okay? That's really where it goes to. They need ritual sacrifices and toys to play with. And it's the greatest tragedy of our time. It's the greatest crime of our time. And so this headhunter was stumbled into our program. I said they were high paid, right? So he clouded his voice, masked his voice with one of those masking machines because he didn't want to be identified, and he called himself Black Michael. And he came on for my co-host and did a series of shorts, like 5-10 minutes each, and he told how the racket is run, and he basically, the bottom line about the kind of money they make for selling out our families and targeting poor people and strangers that are new to the community, not the wealthy, not the locals that are in the community a long time, but they go after the easy targets, And so he said it all hit me in the head when one of my coworkers congratulated me on my 20,000th child, 20,000th child, something like that, and so what did this guy get in his 20-year career for selling out 20,000 children to sexual abuse and ritual murder and abandonment and loss of their true parents? He ended up with 5 mansions, 20 5 mansions, 20 automobiles, and about $250 million that he made. $250 million in 20 years. That's how they brainwash these people to do the work. The money's so good, it's a drug, you see, and therefore they easily sell people out for that kind of 5,000, 10, 20. I don't remember the numbers, but like thousands of dollars a head, and you do a few of those a week. You get the picture. That's how they do it. That's how they get people to sell out. It's the money. It's the drug. So let's continue praying. I pray every day for the little ones to be protected from the secret societies, the Masons, and and the child abusers, ladies and gentlemen. It's the greatest tragedy of all the tragedies going on. It really is. These innocent little babies, these adults, taking advantage of innocence. They deserve to be hung at the next street corner as soon as possible. But it doesn't happen because our world is an occult world. So I didn't plan on going there, but it was part of the way the story happened, because it was at the time when that was going on, and I was exposing it in Texas. And that's part of the reason I'm actually targeted today, just to add a little footnote to that. Okay, so for what I've done in the past, good to have you, Shadow Ninja, and welcome, and everybody else if I've missed you. So in that time when I was out there in the woods while they were targeting me and doing flyovers with BATF, getting ready to have another Waco, the lady I was with at the time had three daughters, and we were staying in a friend's cabin out there in the woods in East Texas. And so so the smallest of the daughters, of the 3 daughters, was in the lower room in the cabin, and of course I was at a point in my spiritual walk where I was really focused and really seeking the light of the Father. While I'm still in a struggle, we're all in an inner struggle of some type. And so I walked opened the front door to the lower part of the cabin and walked in. And as I walked in, the little girl was sitting on the couch reading a book, a child's book, right? And so as I walk into the room, then all of a sudden, while I'm looking at her, just reading the page of the book, 4 years, maybe five, maybe 4 or 5 years old, so can't read, right? But pretending to read, and so as I walk into the room towards her, and I stop, all of a sudden a voice comes into my head. And I couldn't tell you if it was my voice or if it was Yahweh's voice, but it was a voice. It's so surreal. You can't describe how you heard it. But all of a sudden, a voice came in my head and said, a long, long time ago, there was A, right? And then as soon as I heard that in my head, the little girl on the couch puts her finger to the page of the book like she's reading it. And she then says, a long, long time ago, there was A. And it was like, whoa, what just happened here? And I literally heard the words in my head first, and then the girl started reading the book with her finger on the words, saying a long, long time ago there was A. And so I knew that was supernatural. I knew that I was receiving a message from Yahweh and Yeshua, and I knew that it was a riddle because I didn't know the meaning of the riddle. What, a long, long time ago there was A. What? And so then for the next 10 years, it was like the A kept coming up. When I fled, had to escape to Arizona from Texas because of exposing the child kidnapping and the flyovers, getting, being targeted. Then when I'm over there, as soon as I get in the house there, I find a keychain, and in there it has the name of my hero, my Native American hero. I've got several of them, but so Native American is my Native American hero is Crazy Horse, and so it had his name on this medallion that goes onto a keychain, and I still have it today. I've been carrying it ever since. But it has the name Crazy Horse in all capital letters, but the A in Crazy, C-R-A, is a small A. All the other letters in Crazy Horse are caps, one small A. And so this kept happening to me. I kept stumbling on the A. And there was another episode where a game card was flashing towards my door, and I said, okay, I'm not picking the card up. I'm not gonna do it. I know that's got a message on there. Not gonna do it. And I picked it up, and don't you know, it says, and the mystery letter is A. And it's that type of stuff that kept happening. It's like, all right. And then when I lost my apartment in Georgia and was staying then with one of my former radio listeners in Louisiana, then the rest of the riddle came to me. It escapes me now how the answer came. Was I reading a book and or was it a dream? I don't remember anymore. Because it wasn't as dramatic as my hearing a voice in my head and then a little girl repeating the exact same words I heard, pretending to read a book. Then the riddle came. And it was during that period when I was no longer on a computer for a whole year, and I was just reading books 12 hours a day. So I know it was in that deep study. It was somewhere in there that I turned a page, and all of a sudden I got the answer. So this is the rest of the riddle. And like I say, I don't remember the exact moment anymore. How that had occurred. I got the other half of the answer, and so it started out a long, long time ago. There was A. And the A is a symbol, but it's also half of the word in this instance. So a long, long time, there was an, A-N. So the A had an N on it, means the light that comes down as well in the symbolism. So a long, long time ago, there was an I. That's what the A represents originally. The first symbol for the I is the letter A. A long, long time ago, there was an I for F-O-R, the return. Okay? And so this fits right in line. Then when I saw it, I said, oh, yeah. Okay, I get it. An A for the return. So it could also be said, a long, long time ago, there was an A for the return. And this is when it was so clear about the vowel switch outs, you see, because we spell I-E-Y-E. But the original I is spelled A Y. The Y is the yellow of the sun. The A is the compass, and the pyramid, the projection of light coming out like the carrot. Um, and charity is carrot eye. Okay, the original thought in charity is carrot eye, meaning you got an eye for looking. You can see, you're focused on what you're looking at. You know what's going on. The charity, the concern that comes out of your heart. Okay, and so when I got the answer to the riddle, it was like, whoa, whoa, okay, Father, I got it. Thank you. The first letter of the alphabet. That's the original word for the I, the A-Y, and they're both symbols of the sun, of light, and it's where you start. You start at the beginning in the alphabet. That's where you start looking, and then the rest of the letters come behind it. And so an I for the return. Okay, a long, long time ago, there was an eye for the return. What does that mean? Well, it means that there is no longer an eye to see. There is no longer an eye for the return because everybody's following the controlled opposition to the truth. They're following the dogma. They're following the Vatican agenda, the abbreviated words, the false impressions. You know, it's just, I could go on, but there's no eye for the return because of the great cloud that has come over us to cloud our minds, so we never get the picture. And so that's what this program is all about, ladies and gentlemen, to help you on your journey to be able to interpret the symbol and to be able to see and read it for yourself, which is what behold means, the code words that they've enslaved us with, because we can't interpret the original. Just like beloved. You know, I did this the other day, beloved, which, you know, when Yeshua come up out of the water, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Well, what does the word beloved mean? That's an ambiguous term. It's not the original. And what it really was saying was, this is my only loved seed, my only love, because we have to be in Yeshua in a covenant relationship and become a part of that seed of light, a seed of light, okay? Because everyone else is in the seed of darkness. And so it's the great dichotomy, and we're going on that didactic expression right now. So there's the riddle, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So see the letters in a new light. Recognize the A is the power symbol, and the V is hiding under it, because I did that demonstration for you a week ago. The V is hiding under it, and that's creation, the light that comes down. Okay? So we're in a great mystery, and you have to be able to interpret the riddles, because this is a riddle of riddles, but it's all a riddle. It's a riddle when the occult have taken over our publishing houses, when they've taken over religion, when they've taken over our translations, and they do it all outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Curii. Means they put the cure in your eye. Absolutely, Ninja. Yes, sir. And so don't forget, you can call in as well. Let me just do our opener here real quick. 608-566-7295. 608-566-7295. You have a comment or a question, or Skype, of course. We're still hoping one day we can test the Skype on the program and see if we can use that for potential interviews. I'd like to get Matt Rogers on one of these days, since most of you are Sky watchers. I let Matt know I might want to interview him, and so Skype is Free America Radio. That's all one word, Free America Radio. And you can also instant message a text for me and do a follow-up question there, because I noticed these chats are going pretty quick now all of a sudden this morning. And but if you want to post a question or a request on the chat, remember to put the word question and a colon or question, all capital letters and a question mark, or request if it's a request. Like Desert, say that again. What'd you say? Repeat it, please. So put request in all capital letters, request, and then a colon, and then type your message in upper and lower case, normal. That way I can get it. So that'll help me out. Tell me of the and the A pronunciations of the letter A. Okay. I tell me of the UH and the AYE pronunciations of the letter A. Well, okay, the original word for I is AY. Okay, the original word for I, EYE, is AY. They use the E to replace the Y, They used the E primarily to replace the A in the word I, because they didn't want us to get the picture. But look at the capital A. You can see it's a like a, you know, a light projection, like a carrot. And as you look out further and further and further, the carrot gets bigger. You see, you can see it in the letter A. And so you can see then prima facie evidence that what I'm saying is true, that they stole the A from us. It's the symbol of the eye. That's why the pyramid is also called the all-seeing eye, you see. In Finland, we pronounce A as O. Yeah, well, it doesn't, I know that, you know, in Scandinavian, you're speaking, what are you speaking, a High German over there, Anna, or what kind of, you know, I think you're probably speaking a German dialect over there. But, yeah, and so, okay, I can see it. All right, here it goes. Like in the, I think in the French, you know, deux, trois, cinq, six, you know, I remember my French a little bit. And so, means one. So there's a confirmation that the pronunciation has a valid essence to it, because A is number one. A is number one, and A is also 1,000. It's both. And that comes into that thing, you know, a day is as 1,000 years, 1,000 years as a day. That's part of the riddle about, you know, this thing with the 1,000 years, which nobody can interpret, and they're all getting it wrong, because it's not about time. You know, 1,000-year reign and all this stuff that people keep misinterpreting, because it's about the Tao Zen. It's in the word. The Tao is the highest point, and the Zen means the end of time. Well, when was the end of time? As I showed you in Hebrews 9:26, it said, and at the end of the world, Yeshua came. That was the apex. That was the highest point, because he destroyed the old world. He ushered in the golden age of light. And when he was on the burning tree of the curse, the cross, he said, it is finished, meaning it is complete. It is fulfilled. The operation of creation is now at its apex. The Tao Zen, the end and the highest point. Okay? And that's how it's to be interpreted. And that's why they can't, because they're doing it literally. You see? So let me continue now. I'm getting all wound up, and I've got a long way to go yet. So the duality revealed. Oh, you know, before I do that duality, I just want to give one example. One example, you know, I'm doing my reading now. I'm getting in the prophets, and I got to tell you, I'm reading the introduction by Farrar Fenton. I'm telling you, folks, I am telling you, I didn't see this part of the introduction right in front of all the prophets, who are originally would be called navigators. They were the navigator. The navigator, they were the ones, the power brokers on the ships. They're the real navigators, and telling the captain where you go. We're going over here, you know, and we're going to conquer this world and take it over, and put all the native people on a spit if they don't do what we tell them to do, and follow their instructions. You know, but Fenton, unbelievable. The guy is the greatest Orientalist and Hebrew scholar probably of all time, because he did the most important Bible translation, that what's appropriately called the shulfar, not sefer like in the Hebrew, which means code, cipher. It's the shulfar. That's the original word for book, because Bible doesn't mean book, it means covering. It's a bib, the bib el, and it's used by the Illuminatis as a cover. While they're in their occult rituals, they're pretending to be, Jesus loves you, and I do too. You know, give me a break. So it's amazing, this Farrar Fenton. Go to artisanpublishers.com for the best price. Artisanpublishers.com. Go to Amazon if you want to look at it, okay? And you might find a used one there. But this is a 1905 reprint, and it's a classic. You're getting the original copy from the first edition after 40 years of prep, 40 years of reading nothing but Hebrew and Greek. Would not read an English translation because he didn't want to be prejudiced. He wanted to see what the most ancient text said himself. Okay, what's this? At Desert? That's what I was looking for. Another piece of the puzzle. Okay, Shadow. Good. Glad I can help you, bro. And okay, so I just wanted to read. So while I'm reading the introduction to the prophets, I just want to read the first stanza or two stanzas of the Isaiah, Isaiah, okay? Because it touches on what I've been talking about the banishment of Israel. Listen to these words and tell me Israel is no more, including Judah, okay? So the vision which Isaiah von Amoz foresaw over Judah and Jerusalem in the dial of Uzziah, Potham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, and the royal Malik of Judah. Now, right there, I just used as much original thought as I can muster, I was inspired right there. So let me read it the way it reads, so you can hear the difference now. So the vision which Isaiah ben Amos foresaw over Judah and Jerusalem, the days of Uzziah, Potham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, the kings of Judah. So now you can compare. You got when you get the recording, you can back it up. Listen to me use original thought again. Desert is. I don't want to be associated with an ass, okay? But I'll take the compliment, Diane. You're a sweetheart, okay? We talked about the ass just a couple days ago. Don't forget that, okay? I get it. All right. So the Lord, continuing in Ode 1. The Lord himself speaks, and I'm going to try not to transliterate here because I want to keep it simple. Or Yahweh himself speaks. The cosmos can hear, and the earth listens. Okay. I'm sorry. I made it plural. It's not. The cosmos must hear, and the earth must listen. Quote, I reared and trained sons, but from me they revolt. The ox and his owner knows it. The ass, there it is again. The ass and in his master's crib. But Israel knows nothing. Excuse me. But Israel knows nothing. My people cannot see. My people see not. The judgment has come for you. That's what woe means. Woe is another cyber code. When you read it, like when he says, woe unto you Pharisees, and woe to you scribes. He didn't say that. He said, the judgment has come for you scribes and Pharisees because the judgment has come for you lawyers and You see, it's one of the most profound statements in the everlasting covenant New Testament, where he's right in the face of all those corrupt people, and he's saying, and because that was the judgment right there when he came, this is the judgment now, always present tense. The judgment is here right now. You are your own judge. You are the one who will decide where you go. That is the most profound thing the great judge ever did, was to make us our own judges. You will decide where you go, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the great mystery. The great one made us our own judge. Put that one in the bank, okay? It's powerful because nobody says it. They all think at the end of, when the world's over, we're all going to stand in line, with a ticket, and hoping we get a good review. It's not like that. You're the judge right here, right now, for you, not for another. You're your own judge. And that's why we're not here to condemn anybody, because Yeshua didn't come condemning us. He could have. Okay? But I lost my original point now. The judge, woe is a code. So here it's saying this is how they tricked us with the Hebrew, because they know it's against them. They knew it, well, even though they're surplanters, but in the principle of they're claiming to be Israel, so they're not going to let themselves get beat up. So they changed the word a little bit, you see? Yeah, soften it, softball, okay? So, but it really is, the judgment has come for you, you wicked nation, tribes loaded with darkness, with sin, with their eyes closed. You race of revolutionaries and revolters, the seed of vice, who abandon the Yavohe, whom they hate. I mean, wow, what more expression could we ever ask for? All we ever hear about is Israel's, the chosen people. Israel, love Israel. They're special. You know, what is this? Where did this come from? How come nobody reads this? You know, who from Israel, who from Israel is pure? Who from Israel is anointed? Turn back. Turn back. He's given them a shot, because at least the individual, forget the nation, but any individual can be redeemed. Okay, so I just had to let me see if it goes further. On what spot can they strike against you? Can they strike you again? Oh, at what spot can they strike you again? In other words, what he just said, where didn't they hit me? Where didn't they listen? Where didn't they get it? Where haven't they hit me right between the eyes with insult? For each head is wounded and every heart sick. And from the foot, the sole of the foot to the crown of the head, there is no health, but only wounds, bruises, and festering sores, never cleansed or wrapped up, and not softened with oil. Your land is barren. Your cities are burnt. Your farms in your sight, the strangers eat from, right in your face, and the plunderers waste. Zion's maid sits forlorn like a tent in a field, a hut in a garden, a city besieged. And I'll leave it there. Okay, so I want to get to the duality part, because I got the next part of this story now, ladies and gentlemen. The duality revealed in patterns and pictures. And I was just going to like back up to that Israel thing again and say something more, but I think I've hammered it enough over the last several days. It's just a revelation. You know, been so long I read this thing from cover to cover, and I had so much I forgot, and I feel like it's almost like I never even remember reading it. You know, and how did I miss that? And so literally, there's no way we can't know a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Just like you said, there's nothing unknown that cannot be known. There's nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. It is meant to, whatever comes into your mind is meant to be discovered. Yeah, well, certainly, Star. That's, you know, I feel like the first one who's unqualified for the kingdom of heaven, okay? I feel unqualified to do this work, but I know what Yeshua did to me. I have to talk, you know? I have to. Because I also know his mercy is great and that he forgives. You know, I failed and failed and failed, but I know the truth. You know, I know the truth, and therefore we are all working to overcome the serpent, the self, the flesh, the dense matter, the illusions, the lies, the deceit. Okay? So where are we at here? So I want to get to the story when we're showing the dichotomy, how the continuing discussion on how that which is false has taken over that which is true. How did that happen? I mean, did Yahweh lose some strength, and Yeshua was having a bad day and the occult just took over? And, you know, and no, it was part of the plan. And the scriptures are telling us the plan in this great mystery of the illusion on how it was to be from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. And I'm going to show you another element of that now. Again, that whoredom, it's going to be, the point will be that whoredom brought forth the truth. Okay? And so here we go. I got to wipe my eyes for a minute. Okay? I was getting a little emotional here. Hang on. I'm so honored to be associated with so many beautiful people around the world. I mean, I can't get over, you know, I never had this experience before with a chat room and just all this love being passed around in front of me. You know, usually you don't see anybody when you're talking, and I'm looking at some beautiful people, and I'm you know, being humbled by the Father of Light at the same time. So chapter 2 in the book of Joshua, just one chapter, if maybe not even all of it. So Joshua then sent 2 men from his officers. Remember, they're just about to come into the promised land now. They're going into Jericho, which means the Father is rich, and that's why the walls come down. That's the first thing that has to happen in our lives. The walls have to come down, and then when our walls come down, we find out that we have no need, and our Father is rich. And nobody interprets this, you know, nobody. Thank you, Shouty. You're all beautiful. Okay, so Yeshua then sent 2 men from his officers with secret instructions, saying, "Go, examine the land of Jericho." So they went and arrived at the house of a woman named Rahab, an innkeeper, and lodged there. Okay, and she's classically known as the harlot. Um, and for obvious reasons, in these type of uh, uh, hostels, this would be typical. Like you go to a bar, right? It's the same deal. But an innkeeper and lodged there. But it was reported to the king of Jericho that men have arrived from the seed of Israel tonight to explore the country. And the king of Jericho, consequently sent to Rahab to say, "Bring to me the men who have come to you and your house, for they have come to examine the country." But the woman instead took the 2 men and hid them and replied, Some men just came to me, but I do not know where they come from." However, when the gates were shut at dark, the men went away, and I myself do not know where the men went. Go after them quickly so as to catch them. And she had, however, taken them up to the roof and covered them over with cotton, and she stored them up there on the roofs. Stand by. The messengers accordingly pursued after them towards the Jordan ford, the Jordan crossing. And the gates were shut after them as soon as they went out in pursuit. But they were still hiding. And she then went up to the roof to them and said to the men, "I know that Yahweh will give this country, this land to you, because a terror has fallen upon us and upon all the population of the land, and it will melt away before you. For we have heard how Yahweh has caused the waters of the Red Sea, the Sea of Aqaba, to dry up when you came out." That's the Sea of Souls, by the way. Aqaba is the Sea of Souls. It's right in the word and nobody talks about it. Has dried up and came out from Mitzrayim, the great wonders that have been performed and what you have done to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan, to Shihon and to Og, how you gave them to destruction. We have heard these things and our hearts melt, and the spirit of a man will never rise up against you. For your Yahweh is the great Elohim of all Elohim, in all the cosmos above and on the earth beneath. Therefore now listen, I create light, and listen to me. When Yahweh shows you favor, you also show favor to my father's family and give me a pledge of your truth that you will preserve the lives of my father and mother and my brothers and sisters and all belonging to them. Okay, so get the picture here. What is she saying is to preserve. Now this is a harlot, and so you have to see the story behind the story. The harlot is saying, please make a pledge that you will preserve my family, my heritage, my tradition, and so that we will be preserved. And the rest of the story, right? They made the deal. Okay, so a harlot therefore saved those 2 men, and as a result, it is the culmination of the takedown of Jericho and the victory of light for Eshoreah. Their first victory is within the condition of a harlot and a pledge, you see. So this is the great mystery, ladies and gentlemen, in this dichotomy, that it is the darkness that we first see. We come into the world of darkness, and it is then the darkness, the false traditions, that introduce us to the pure light. And after we can see that pure light, you say, I want falsehood no more, because the truth is not a part of any lie, and we have to put on the full garment of light, unspotted, unsullied by this world, separate, a separate people that do only the things that are pleasing to the Father. And this is the great mystery. Okay, and we'll continue this. Again tonight. I'll try to have another example because they're endless. I just got to start working now. I got to go digging for this stuff. I had a stack of 3x5 cards with all of them on there, And remember the classic one that it's a profound. It's one of the most important ones of them all, other than Solomon cutting the baby in half. And saying give this half to that woman, give the other half to the other woman. The one about the Phoenician Canaanite king, Amalek. And Amalek means false messenger. And right there in the scriptures, it says that our battle with Amalek will be throughout all time. Our battle with in other words, the false messenger, because that's what Amalek means, false messenger. Our battle will be with the false messenger, and therefore all the false messages throughout all time. That is our battle, to unravel the lies of the controlling elite, the echelon of the controlling lies. So it is possible by the power of Yeshua. Okay, that's the only way, because I would not know this if it were not my tree of knowledge, Yeshua, guiding me and leading me down the trail, and I just follow. Okay, so I'm in symbols now, and I want to take you to the serpent and the tree. We talked about serpents last week, and this is just a real short one. Okay, and so I was reading in my dictionary on symbols. Okay, I'll tell you which one it is. You may want to get a copy. A Dictionary of Symbols by Cirlot, Cirlot. That's the author. It comes from the Philosophical Library. A Dictionary of Symbols, and it was originally done in Spain, then translated into English. Okay, translated, and it was a Jesuit of all, and he was an artist. Okay, of all people, it was a Jesuit adjutant. Not that he wore priest robe, but he was a Jesuit adjutant, and he was an artist. So he was doing his thing, and he was ready to go if the Jesuit order needed him. And he's the most qualified to write a book about symbolism, because that's how they communicate in symbolism. Thank you for your comment there, Star. Absolutely. So this comes out of the definition of the trees. Okay, trees and flowers. No, tree, that's coming up. Trees. It's like a 3-page definition I had to read over the last several days to get through it. But I'm just going to read this one small liner here. Okay, the snake, the serpent coiled around the tree, introduces another symbol. Now remember, that takes us back to the garden, and I think I give you enough deduction to recognize that the serpent is the flesh. We are tempted. It's an alter ego, and the body plays tricks on us until we become the master. We have to dominate the flesh. The flesh wants to dominate us. That's the battle between the light and darkness. So the snake coiled around the tree, which is symbolically the world axis, like the North Pole axis, so to speak. It represents that. It represents sun and moon. It represents the earth. Represents our body. We are also a tree. We're a serpent. We're a tree, and so the snake coiled around our tree, implies constriction against our lives, so that we can't be set free. All right. So the snake coiled around the tree introduces another symbol, that of the spiral. That's the symbol of creation and the Fibonacci sequence, number 6. And the tree as world axis is surrounded by the sequence of cycles, which characterizes the revealed world. Okay, so it characterizes the revealed. It's revealed. Okay, not the seen world, but the revealed world. And so that's what we're doing. We're pulling the wool away from our eyes and getting the revealed world, the true nature. Not that my preacher wouldn't lie to me, my politician wouldn't kiss my babies and then kiss me off. That my teachers wouldn't lie to me, or maybe they're so stupid they don't even know what they're saying. They're just pre-programmed to regurgitate whatever they're told to say without any common thinking, rationalization, or revelation. Like that could happen in the school too, right? But continuing here, This, therefore, is an interpretation applicable to the serpent watching at the foot of the tree on which the golden fleece is suspended. What was that? Jason and the Argonauts, and they went looking for the golden fleece. So the golden fleece is, is, in other words, it's a sheepskin, but it's turned to gold. The sheep has turned to gold. Isn't that what we want to do? We want to be the sheep of the flock of Yeshua, and therefore what we become is represented as the light of the sun, and we are gold. We are the most precious treasure in the eyes of Yahweh, the most precious. He cares not for the rest of the world. If they don't want to go, that's okay with him. But those who want to go, he loves, like the golden fleece. Okay, so there's the metaphor in the mythology, and that's Greek mythology, and it's telling the exact same story, because all of the ancient cultures were talking about transcendence, but they were run by false priesthoods. It was the same story. But then at the end of time, 2,000 years ago, the true story comes. The true Redeemer of the world comes, okay? So it's all throughout. You can interpret the same storyline in another culture, and there you go, okay? So that's symbolism. One more on symbolism, and that is with the white garment, okay? The white garment. It's the aspect of putting on the aspect of putting on the white garment is to be is meaning to be clothed in the bright light. So when we think of where he talks about us having white robes that are unspotted, see it further. Don't just see white robes like, you got a sheet linen on, but look at it in the projection of a bright white light that you're glowing, just like that golden fleece. It's beyond the mind. That's metaphor. And metaphor means beyond the mind, or if we said meta-mind means beyond the mind, okay? So realize that the white garment that you put on will glow in the metaphor. It's not just white, but it's light. You're being clothed in the light, okay? And words that kill, and then we're going to get on with our read. And I'm always trying to keep these programs down to no more than 90 minutes or less if I can do that, because I appreciate everyone being here, and I know people have other things to do. You all inspire me, and I appreciate that so much. I know all of our lives are equally important on this earth, and doctors wear the E. Okay, Jedi, not familiar with that. Next time we talk, you can share that with me. So remember yesterday that I was last night. I think it was last night. Yeah. Okay. Talked about the alien versus alien, and the code. The two secret symbols are the R and the L, and yeah. Well, they would have wore black, Jedi. Like the judge or the priest, the Catholic priest. They would have wore black, but we know that if the doctor was wearing black, we would all figured out something was wrong, right? And so they're the only ones in the priesthood wearing white robes, because we would definitely figure something out if we're going to a doctor wearing black, voodoo, right? The what is it? Pharmakia means sorcery, right? And they're doling out the drugs like a drug dealer. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So okay. So let's go back to the alien Aryan. You see the L and the R. Change out the L and alien, you get Aryan, and I'm going to add more fuel to this coming up, okay? Because Aryan is synonymous with the word Orion. It means the true rayon. It means the true creation, and therefore the Aryan with the blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin, flying in a craft dressed in tinsel gold, landing on top of a pyramid, coming out sparkling in the sun in a shining silver craft. They're anti-gravity craft. They look like the sky gods. They look like the sun. They were called sky gods, sun gods. I love the similarities as opposed to the constant differences being pointed out. Right. Yeah. There's so many ways to look at it. It's like looking at the orange. Thank you, Star. When we all could be looking at the same orange as well, right? But if you're looking on the other side of the orange, and I'm looking on this side of the orange, it's the same orange, but it's still a different perspective, right? We all have a way of looking at things that in seeing things. But the most important thing is to see things deeply and to go farther than we've ever gone before in the great mystery, because this whole world wants to keep us down. It wants to deny us the fulfillment and the transcendence and the absolute freedom that comes from exact knowing of who we are, where we are, why we are, and when we are. And when we can know those things, we are set free and have a direct connection that nobody can sever with our architect, creator, and redeemer. Okay, so I wanted to go to the L and the R because I now want to take you to another trick they played on us. Okay, think of Yeshua, who in the West we all call Jesus. Yeshua, how powerful this guy is and was, right? But we're talking about him on earth as a man, flesh and blood, feeling the same feelings we have, experiencing the same, physical challenges that we all face. And then in the end, when he's being, beaten and tortured, and when we read the original gospel, we'll find out he even was stoned before they nailed him to the cross. Stand by for that broadcast. And so, and in Revelations, we read him as being called the Lamb of God, or even in our Gospels, right? The Lamb of God. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that he's not the Lamb of God. He is the Ram of God. Okay, to use the Western God. Okay, he is the Ram. You see, we are the sheep. We are the lambs, but he is the head of the flock, and he is the ram, and the ram is all powerful, and nobody messes with him. And so did he not show that he was the ram when he did not flinch in the face of ridicule, torture, abuse, and everything? He was the man. He never cried out, in pain. In fact, it said he stayed up there in silence for 3 hours. 3 hours, never said a word until it was time to speak. And he spoke philosophically at that time. And then he said, "It is finished. I have accomplished what I came here to do." And boom, he's out of here. He told everyone in advance he was going to be tortured. And then after, 3 days and 3 nights, he'd come back, rise from the dead, and conquer the flesh. So tell me that's not a ram. He was not the ram. And that's how they do it with their magic letters L and R. We're the lambs. He's the ram. Take that one to the bank. Meditate on that and see if you don't see it clearly, okay? Because I know it's true. He is the ram. That's and not only that, but the ram, just like the African lion, represents the sun, right? The ram. You can imagine the force of the sun coming out down, and it's like the ram. And the ram horn, look at that ram horn. That is the Fibonacci of creation, right? Going around. And so the ram, it's a powerful, powerful imagery. And that's how we have to see things in a new light. But we also have to know the tricks. We have to know the tricks that they have played on us, ladies and gentlemen, because it is a racket against mankind. They organized against us thousands of years ago. This didn't start yesterday. This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. It is the greatest show on earth, and they've perfected it. Look at those movies. Whenever I used to look at the movies in Hollywood, I was always amazed at how can they come up with these stories? How can they come up with this storyline, then back it up with all this imagery? Are they not the masters of illusion? Right? Thank you, Shadow Ninja. We'll pray and research on that one. Yep, absolutely. So they knew that warfare, the greatest element of warfare, is deception. It's cheaper. It's more affordable. Or who was it? Henry Kissinger, right? He said way back when. I always knew there was something wrong with bringing all these foreigners with accents over here advising the presidents, but at the beginning, I didn't know what that was all about. But of course, they're the foreign agents working, from Europe, coming over from Europe, the Eastern Bloc, and all that stuff. But okay, don't lose your thought, Desert. Okay, senior moment again. Okay, I always knew there was something wrong. Oh yeah. So with the quote with Kissinger said, there was a time when it was easier to control a million people, but today now it's actually harder to control a million people, but it's easier to kill them. So I think we're probably going to kill him. I'm not, So that was his quote. It's easier. In the past, it was easier to control 1 million people, but today it's easier to kill 1 million people. Right? The super viruses that they're going to come out with from the laboratory, the incoming objects that are going to destroy our world. We're still trying to figure out what's the timeline. We see it in the sky. That's why they're blowing up all the poisons in the atmosphere. Having a party on us, killing our planet on a fast track to destruction of our world, destroying of all these beautiful creatures, the porpoises, the whales, the deer in the woods, the rabbits, all of these creatures being destroyed, and the people. So let me get into the next part of Eusebius in the history of the church. Okay, and the title of this one is called Herod's Plot Against the Children and his terrible end. It couldn't have been that terrible. When the Mashiach, the Christ, was born in accordance with prophecy at Bethlehem in Judah, and at the time already stated, Herod was asked by the Magi, from the east where they could find the one who was born the royal ruler of the Judeans, for they had seen his star, and for that reason had made this long journey in their eagerness to pay homage to the great Elohim and his seed that had been born. Herod was badly shaken by the inquiry, thinking that his throne was in danger, so he consulted the teachers of the law, and that would have included the school of Hillel among the Pharisees and the Sadducees and others. But it was the school of Hillel that was there. We'll learn about Hillel, very soon here. I'll be sharing that with you. His grandson was a convert, actually, to follow Yeshua. And among all the people, he asked them where they expected the Moshiach to be born. And when he heard Micah's prophecy foretelling of the birth at Bethlehem, he issued a single decree ordering the destruction in Bethlehem and all its neighborhood of the male infants and according to their reckoning, it would have been 1 year old and under, because they counted the first year in the womb. That's what 2 years means, the first year in the womb. So according to our reckoning, 1 year old and under. In accordance with the time he had found out from the Magi, naturally supposing that Yeshua would certainly suffer the same fate as those of his own age. However, the plot was forestalled by the removal of the youth of the seed to Mitzrayim, Egypt, as by the appearance of a royal messenger. And the royal messengers were actually the wise men. They were the ones conveying the message, and they convert that. His parents had learned, therefore, in the time that this was to come, and the story may be studied in the sacred gospel record. Let me take a sip. Excuse me. In this connection, it is worthwhile to recall the price paid by Herod for his crime against the Moshiach and the other babies. Instantly, without the shortest delay, divine justice overtook him, and while still alive, giving him a foretaste of what awaited him in the next world. This is not the place to list the ways in which he dimmed the supposed light of his reign by the successive calamities that befell his house, the revolting murder of a wife, children, and all who were bound to him by the closest ties of blood and affection. No tragic drama is as dark as their story, of which Josephus has given a full account in his histories. How from the moment of the plot against our Savior and the other helpless infants, a scourge wielded by the hand of the great Elohim struck Herod and drove him to death. We should do well to hear from the lips of the historian in the Judean Antiquities, Book 17. He describes his terrible end in these words. Herod's sickness grew steadily worse as the great Elohim and Yahweh exacted punishment for his iniquities. He was consumed by a slow fire and fever, which gave no clear indication to the touch of the burning heat that added so much to his internal miseries. He had an overpowering desire for food, which it was impossible to satisfy, ulceration of the intestines with agonizing pains in the lower bowel, and a clammy, transparent humor covering the feet. The abdomen was in the same miserable state, and in such the genitals mortification set in, breeding worms. Breathing was constricted. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, I think, right? Breathing was constricted only possible when sitting upright, and it was most offensive because of the heavy stench and feverish respiration. He suffered in every part convulsions that were unbearably severe. Those who practiced divination and had the gift of foretelling such things declared that the Yahweh, who is the great Elohim, was exacting a penalty from the king for his continual wickedness. Such is the story as told by Josephus in the Antiquities. In Book 2 of the Histories, he gives a very similar account of Herod's last days. From then on, the sickness spread through his entire body, accompanied by a variant of painful symptoms. He had a mild fever and unbearable itching all over his body, constant pains in the lower bowel, swellings in the feet as in dropsy, inflammation of the abdomen, and mortification of the genitals, producing worms, as well as difficulty in breathing, especially when lying down, and spasms in all of his limbs. The diviners said that his diseases were a punishment, but though he was wrestling with so many disorders, he hung on to life, hoped for recovery, and planned his own treatment. He crossed the Jordan and tried the hot baths at Calero, which empty their waters into the Dead Sea, waters sweet enough to drink. The doctors were there decided to warm up his body with hot oil by lowering him into a bath of it, but he fainted and turned up in his eyes as if in a faint. The noise of his attendants beating their breast brought him back to consciousness. Not beating their breast, I think beating his breast, like, CPR, brought him back to consciousness. But having no further hope of recovery, he ordered the distribution of the 15 pounds a head to the soldiers and large gratuities to the officers and to his gentlemen. But he had gentlemen? Give me a break. By the time he had arrived at Jericho on the return journey, he was melancholy and mad. And in a virtual challenge to death itself, he proceeded to devise a monstrous outrage. He brought together the most eminent men of every village in the whole of Judah and had them locked up in the hippodrome. Then he sent for his sister Salome and her husband Alexas and said, I know the Judeans will greet my death with great rejoicings, but I can be mourned on other people's account and make sure of the magnificent funeral if you will do as I tell you. These men under guard, as soon as I die, kill them all. Let loose the soldiers among them, and then all Judah and every family will weep for me willy-nilly. In other words, they'll have another reason to cry, so they'll be crying nonetheless, right? What wickedness on his deathbed, right? No remorse. Later, he was so tormented by lack of food and a racking cough that he suffered. His sufferings mastered him, and he made an effort to anticipate his appointed end. He took an apple and asked for a knife, it being his habit to cut up apples when he ate them. Then, looking around to make sure there was no one to stop him, he then raised his hand to stab himself. Josephus on to relate that just before he died, Herod gave orders for the execution of yet a third of his lawful sons, in addition to the 2 already executed, and that his life was instantly broken off to the accompaniment of agonizing pain. Such was the final end of Herod. His pain, he paid a just penalty for the children he had put to death in Bethlehem and its neighborhood in his attempt to against the Savior. After this, and we're almost done here. After this, a royal messenger appeared in a dream to Joseph. while he was staying in Mitzrayim, Egypt, and ordered him to leave for Judah with the seed, the pure seed, and his mother, informing him that those who had sought the death of the youth were now dead. The evangelist proceeds by hearing that Archelaus had succeeded his father Herod as king. He was afraid to go there, and being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee in Samaria. Okay, and tomorrow will be in Pilate's date, high priest, and the time of Christ's mission, the Mashiach's mission. Okay, and now we'll do one chapter from the original gospel. And I'm glad you're all tuned in. I enjoy being with you folks in the wonderful friends in the morning, and I think it's the way to start the day, you know, with and especially hearing some things we've never heard before, because we got to, and I'm trying to, you know, really bring on the most important stuff I can think of, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, I haven't watched television. Okay, like I think maybe I've got you all beat because of my age. I don't know, but I'm like 30 years, 35. I see. I see your notes there. So, yep. I hear you. Don't need that programming. We need to be deprogrammed. This is the deprogramming program right here. You're tuned into the RealPublicRadio.net, Free America Radio Network. What they didn't want you to know, but we tell right here because somebody's got to do it. And I'm Desert Owl, the guy who's crazy enough to think he can. Okay, and actually very reasonable and well thought out in this approach. Okay, but it comes through struggle. It came through great struggle and pain, and I was crying this morning. I got to tell you, you know, just before the program, well, you know, the tragedy of this world. I actually at the moment can't remember what it was about, but you know, it's a tragic world, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we're about to witness. What we're about to witness with our own eyes, the end of the world as we know it. It's coming. You know it. Whether it's cosmic or whether it's going to be the political, right? Either way, they got us. They're going to pull the trick, and they're probably going to pull the warfare thing just as the incoming cosmic stuff, you know, gets too close. And when, you know, we'd all start looking up and leaving our jobs, I think that's when the party begins. Okay, because they don't want us looking up. They want us looking around us at all the diversions that they're going to create, whether it's the Islamic or whether it's the World War III or whether it's, you know, the concentration camps, rounding everyone up, the G5, where they put us all in a, you know, an electronic fence, and or maybe they just fry us with the microwave, you know. I'm telling, and now, oh, then the alien card, okay, then the motherships and the ray guns from the smaller ship, the motherships will be holograms in the sky by the aluminum oxide they blew up there, you know, for the holograms. That's why they had to throw aluminum up in the sky, not to mention to reflect, you know, the light and all that. So, well, we're attempting to make a difference, Star. That's for sure. That's all we can. That's all we can do. We got to change ourselves first, and then we hopefully can, you know, make a difference in this world. So, but Yeshua, he's the one who sets the standard, and I just follow, you know. So that's what I'm doing right here. So okay, so that's wait a minute, where am I at? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hang on. So we're in chapter 9 now of the original gospel, just getting started, and it's a big book. And for anyone that missed it, you know, and you can play back the pre-record, you know, because I want to give it fast. I'm running out of time here, but therealpublicradio.net /original_gospel.html. That's therealpublicradio.net /original_gospel.html. And then you'll see a tree, a beautiful tree there with the light coming through, just like UFO lights. That's what I saw. That reminds me of what I saw when I was under that squadron of 30 UFOs. One day I'll tell you the story, okay? And I found out where they were based underground the next day, okay? Story for another day. So, but you can get the free PDF download right there, or you can click on the book and get it from Amazon. The introduction is worthless. It's a cover. All right, somebody maybe out of the goodness of their heart brought out the original gospel, said, "Hey, the world needs to know it," but they had to pretend it was like, you know, spurious, or you know, the introduction, you know, has another story of where it comes from, because they don't want people to know that really it came from underground in the Vatican. They probably would have killed them, you know, could have. So the good news has come out. That's all that matters. It is the power of Yeshua. It happened because He wills it. because the truth always comes up eventually. So chapter 9. And so Mary, Elizabeth, Yosef with the Yalkanan and John and Jesus, Yeshua are in Mitzrayim, Egypt, and they're there for 3 years and learning from this wonderful couple of Hebrew sages, Shalome and Elihu. And so Shalome in 9 says, Shalome plowed and planted seed, the lessons of the day, and she breathed. All times are not alike, and today the words of blood of the earth may have greatest power, and tomorrow the seed of the woman will be teaching best, and because they're with their sons, and this is what the implication is, bad translation here. And in all the ways of life, blood of the earth and woman should walk hand in hand. But it's also referring to the fact that, the woman being creation it is filled with the message of light and the symbolism. And so it's talking about reading the woman in the metaphors. That's what I'm, been doing every day, showing the symbolism, interpreting the symbolism so that, you can see and read it for yourself. In all the ways of life, the blood of the earth and woman should walk hand in hand, man and woman. And the one without the other is but half. Each has a work to do, but all things teach. Each has a time and a season for its own. And the sun and the moon have lessons of their own for blood of the earth. Okay, that's sun, moon, and earth. They all have lessons. That's right. They're the prime symbols, sun and moon. But each one teaches at the appointed time. The lessons of the sun fall down on earthly hearts like withered leaves upon a stream, if given in the season of the moon, and so with lessons of the moon and of the stars. Today one walks in gloominess, downhearted, and oppressed. Tomorrow the same one will be filled with enlightenment and therefore joy. Today, the sky seems full of an endowment of the enlightenment and of great expectation and hope. Hope is the opening. You see the word open, O-P-E, and the H is the. So the hope is an abbreviation of the opening. What is our hope? That there is an entrance, that there is an opening into the great house of the Father and into eternity, and it comes from knowing. It starts with a hope, and then it builds to the knowing, and you know that you know that you know. Okay, so today the sky seems full of an endowment and enlightenment with the great hope and an opening. Tomorrow this opening has fled for some, and every plan and purpose comes to nothing. Today one wants to curse the very ground on which he walks. Tomorrow he can be filled with the travain love and a rising up in the creation in praise. Today one hates and scorns and envies and is jealous of the child he loves, his very seed. Tomorrow he can rise up above his carnal self and breathe forth the exaltation and the enlightenment of a perfect will towards mankind. And 1,000 times, blood of the earth, wonder why these great heights and then these deep valleys, these light hearts and these sad hearts are found in every walk of life. They do not know that there are seed planters, teachers everywhere, each busy with his Elohimic appointed task and driving home into the earthly hearts the truth from the tree's root. But this is true, and everyone receives the lesson that he needs. And Mare breathed. This is a day of great exaltation, a day of paying homage and of rising up in the creation of light, praise, a day when, in a measure, we may, in a moment, may comprehend our great Father of light, Yahweh, Then let us study Yahweh, the one, the three, and the seven, the great Elohim. Before the worlds were formed, all things were one. All things are one. Just the great breath of the wind and fire, the universal, omniversal breath. And the breath breathed forth, and that which was not revealed became the fire and the thoughts in the sun and the moon and the stars. And the great Father, Yahweh, brought forth the mother, Elohim, the one of the many in the one. And when the fire and the thought of the cosmos in the oneness breathed, their son, their only seed, was born. And this seed is the divine love, whom blood of the earth have called the Mashiach, the Christ. Blood of the earth call thought of the cosmic thought, the only true anointed pure great breath of light on the wind and wings of fire throughout all time, or the holy breath, or the Holy Spirit. And when the triune great Elohim and Yahweh breathed forth, it is truth throughout all time, the seven winds stand before the throne. And so the seven winds are symbolized as the days, 7 days of the week, and also therefore the planets, the sun and the moon of the 7 days of the week. Those are the seven winds of the Elohim. All Elohim, all the planets, the moon, the star, all Elohim in the physical form. Yeshua is the great Elohim. Continuing. And then the triune great Elohim in Yahweh breathed forth. It is true throughout all time. Seven winds stood before the throne. What throne? The throne of the sun. And these are the Elohim. Literally says it right here. They got Elohim in this book. Amazing, because they took it out of all of our scriptures that they use at the pulpit. And these are the Elohim's creative winds of the universe. And like right now, all the planets are on one side of the sun, right? And like Mr. MBB's been talking about it, and says that because they're all on one side of the sun next to each other, that there will be potentially cataclysmic type phenomena going on. But what we know, we got to look at it. There is a power within these other orbs that interplay with Earth and the sun and the moon and the other planets. They are all connected, just like the 7 days of the week. They create a balance or an imbalance depending upon where we are. Oh, there's Love Matters. Wonder where you were this morning. Good to have you, love. Okay, and these are they who breathe. This is Elohim now. You see, they got the story right. And these are they who breathe. Let us make man, plural, right? Let us, the Elohim, let us make man in our image, and in their image he was made. We are cosmic creations. We represent the cosmos. We are the end product in the universe. The end product. Okay? The universe came into being, and we are in this garden for us to learn, to read the symbols and the signs, and to transcend. As Confucius said, signs and symbols rule the world. Words and law, they're just following behind, okay? Because it's about signs and symbols, and therefore the natural phenomena, and it can be interpreted. In the early age of the world, the dwellers in the further east, that'd be like the Persians, who came to visit him and bowed down when he was a baby and breathed. The Tao is the name of the omniversal, universal breath. Tau is the original last letter of the alphabet. Okay, it's spelled different ways: T-A-O, T-A-U, T-A-V, and we're all dust too. That's true. We came from the fiery magma. When we go back to our body goes to the grave, it'll turn to dust. That's for sure. Okay, so Tau is the universal name. Okay, in other words, they knew it all the way in China. They knew it in India. They knew it in Persia. And they knew it in our tradition that we embrace from the Hebrew line, Hebrew lineage, the Tao, the play of the one, the fulfillment, the Tavul, the ability to see, becoming fulfilled within this creation. Okay, and so and they also saw it in the ancient books as we read. No manifesting form has Tao great. That's in reference to Yahweh. It's another expression of the one who made all things. And yet, the I, he made and keeps the cosmos together and the earth in order. No passion has our Tao great, and yet he caused the sun and moon and all the stars to rise and to set. No title or no name has Tao great. He is the unnameable, and yet he makes all things to grow. He brings in the seasons, both the seed time, the planting time, and the harvest time, the early and the latter rain. And the Tao great is one. The one becomes the two becomes the three, and the three evolve into the seven, which fills the universe with the manifestations of all the forms that we see in the great mystery. And Tao great gives unto us everything. Everything. And it's called Yaltsar, okay? In Genesis, when it says, and on the second day, he did all this, and then they say, and they saw it, and he saw it, and it was good. No way. That is so milquetoast. I looked up the word that they said, and he saw it, and it was good. I looked it up. It's Yaltsar. Yaltsar. It means like it was perfect. It was complete. There was nothing lacking. It was in abundance beyond anything anybody could ever imagine. A surplus that could never be depleted. Talking about the light of the sun and the surplus on the earth, the minerals, the fish of the ocean. And they said, and it was good. That's how they milquetoasted our scriptures, ladies and gentlemen. I was blown away. Yal-zar. Yal is the root of Yah. Everybody likes, Yah for Yeshua, Yahweh, Yahweh, all right. But it's Yal. The two L's are there, and that means that which goes round. And in the primordial, it's the sun and moon in the primary. And so Yal-zar, Zar being the power word like Caesar, and they said, and it is good. It means everything. So you see, Zar is star. It was the power of the sun. Another essence of it. It is the power of the sun that goes round, and I'm seeing it right now so clearly for the first time. The power of the sun that goes round, and sure it is, because everything came out of the sun, out from the light, and the light particles are still falling right now. Wow, I can't get over it. I saw it further this time sharing it with you than I ever did before. And that's the beauty behind this synergy that goes on here. You folks are compelling me. I love you. And so, okay, so the great Tao great gives unto the earth everything, the Yaltsar, and the darkness and the light, the sun and the moon, the rain and the dew, the sunshine and the flowers. From his rich storehouse, he feeds them all. And in the same old scrolls and codices, books, we read about the blood of the earth, man, the creation. He has a spirit that is tied to the Tao great. We can't escape him. The shul, the soul, our mind of knowledge, which lives within the seven breaths of the Tao great, a body of desires that springs up from the soil, from the fiery magma to the flesh. That's the blood of the earth. That's where it goes back to the primordial. Hadam was made from the blood of the earth, the fiery magma. It's got soil here. It should be the blood of the earth. The fiery magma. That's stolen from us. That knowledge was stolen by the priesthood. They didn't want us to know. They want us to think we were dirt. And we're not dirt. We are made from the purified minerals and salts of the earth and came through the breast of the mother. The volcano is the breast of the mother. Purified, you see? And when I saw it, when I finally came clear, because I knew there was a problem with, red dirt. I knew that was wrong. But when I studied Native American mythology and tradition, then in there they had a mythological story about the first man. And they called the first man the blood clot boy. And when I heard that, the blood clot boy, well, what it looks like blood clot that could make a body. It's the fiery magma, and that's when I saw it. You see, and that's why they in the King James they said, and then a mist. There was a mist, that brought forth, but it's mist is abbreviation for mystery. They're not telling you. And in Philo, it's mountain. Fountain. Okay, and fountain is not water. Fountain is the object that brings forth the flow of energy, and so the fountain is the creation that brings forth the lava. You see, so it's just the tricks have been played, and we got to realize there's more to the story. It's deeper than we've received. There's no way these people would want us to know the true story of our origin and who we are, and so we're hashing it out here, ladies and gentlemen. And I thank you for being here and being my inspiration. We're almost done. And so now the spirit loves the pure, the great breath loves the pure and the perfect and those who are true. The body of desires extols the selfish nature, and the soul, the shul, becomes the battleground. The mind, the shul, becomes the battleground between these two, the mind and the flesh. And Baruch, endowed and enlightened with the mind's eye for seeing in the night, is the blood of the earth, whose spirit is triumphant. You have to be triumphant. It's within us. We are our own general, and whose lower self is purified in the process, whose soul and mind is cleansed, who becomes fit to be the council chamber of the manifestations of this Tao Great on this garden plain that he put us on. Thus close the lessons of Shalome, chapter 10. And I'm going to put my post-it note right there. Okay. And so you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you've been reading this. I know some people, I've met people who actually had the original gospel, misnomered as Aquarian gospel, and they recognized it. The people that did discover it, they woke up. It's possible for somebody to see and read it for themselves. It is enormous. 182 chapters, okay, full of wisdom. We're just beginning. We're in chapter 9 or 10, and we've got 182 chapters to go. So it'll be a while. We're just doing 1 or 2 chapters at a time, and we're going to tell it like it is, ladies and gentlemen, because the truth needs to be known. And at the end of this, apparently we're in the end, the Gentile dispensation, and we're being dispensed. So we've got to pull it together. We've got to see things we never seen before, and become scholars, and become enlightened in the greatest way. I studied all cultures. I studied Native American culture. I studied the Eastern cultures and China, and the philosophies. I've read Confucius. I read the trial of Socrates. I left no stone unturned because I simply wanted to know. I didn't know where I would find the next gem, but I found a harmony and a symmetry within our history, and even if it wasn't relevant, reading Dante's tragedy or the Machiavellian deception, I had to read everything only because I wanted to know. Like Yeshua knows everything, right? And so I just wanted to know as much as I could in order to be able to make sense out of an insane world, being run by psychopathic killers that hate our guts and call us goyim and cattle, and consider it not murder to take our lives according to their writings, and pretend to be Israel and hiding behind the cloth, or to pretend to be Christian, hiding behind the New Testament scriptures, when they are having occult rituals in the basement, slaughtering babies and drinking blood, torturing people to death, burning people at the stake. What haven't they done? Waging wars, endless war, when they are all players on the chessboard, all working for the same master. There are no enemies other than the pretend enemies they create, and they have always got 2 of them, one in the East, one in the West. It was Nazi Germany, it was Japan. Both of them had on their flags the rising sun. The swastika, a symbol of the sun. The rising sun was on the Japanese flag. Look at the German flag today. It's another version of the rising sun, right? It's the yellow at the bottom banner, then in the middle of the orange, and at the top the blackness of space. It's a simulation of a sunrise. Still got the rising sun on that German flag because the Aryans are key players. They're key players. And I just did I miss a card? Wait a minute. I think I missed. I think I missed a card on a word that could kill us. Let me see here. Hang on. No, I got. Oh, it's got to be. Oh, it's for tonight. Okay, I got another element of those ancient watchers. Those are very arrogant Aryans that hate everybody else because they think they're better. I'm Aryan. You're Aryan. I think probably all of you. But we don't carry that attitude because we're not part of some secret clique and think we're better than everyone else. We fall victim. They eat up their own. There's no honor among Aryans. And certainly anybody else being used by them is being used by them. The African, American or whatever, African European or the Chinese American or whoever, they're happy to use anybody for their purpose, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's a wrap. Okay, you got to hear first. And I just want to give out a website. Okay, livefree2.basicreset.com. livefree2.basicreset.com. It's a way you can support our ministry, so we can publish the first book, the Book of Wisdom, for those who are in prison. The wonderful Book of Wisdom by Joseph of Arimathea, the great uncle of Yeshua. And you can also sign up on that website for free, and you can. Whenever you need health product, try to do your purchasing there, and it will help the ministry out. You can get people to sign up under your website. If you join, we'll read your website on the air and put you in a card rotation when we do signups as our audience gets bigger. Okay, so want to thank you, friends, Jedi, Lynn, Anna, Star, all of you. Prospero comes by sometimes, and Shadow, all of you. Okay, I know I forgot somebody, but forgive me. Okay, I just grateful for your being here and keeping me going. Okay, I'm motivated to share with all of you. It's difficult. It was a few days ago. I wanted to give up. I just it's the only thing is as I see that you folks really care. I see you're figuring something out here, and therefore I'm so grateful that somebody else is able to see what Desert is seeing. How come he's willing to be a loner, to stand alone with the truth, because I won't be a part of any false tradition. The truth is not a part of any lie. And to find out I've got some real Confederates out there that are hanging in there with me is just a fantastic thing. Prospero, there he is. Just mention him. And the Star, all those beautiful hearts. And Lynn, all those beautiful hearts. I keep seeing hearts flying around everywhere. I've never seen a channel that had so much love expression going on, and it's just it's touching my heart. And I pray before Yeshua, create light, that it brings me to the next level. We all need to go further up, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. Yeah, every evening. I'll get it right one day. 8 p.m. Tonight we'll be back with the Forbidden History series. A little bit more on those very wicked Aryans that fly their anti-gravity craft all over the world and having a party on us and killing us slowly. And I'm telling you, and do tell your friends, okay, because you want to know, and you've got a friend that is alone out there, some older friend, that would love to have a place to hang out with such great people. Okay, so I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the future, just look for the Forbidden History. Desert Owl signing off. We'll see you tonight. Good night. And thank you, Love Matters.